Hey there, it's Chad, your local Kenosha real estate expert. Today, I want to break down the pros and cons of selling your house for a cash offer or instant offer. That's really popular for some people, but is it right for you? Well, let's get into the video today and see if it's right for you or not. There are some really popular pros, but there's also some really big cons to it. And make sure you stick around to the end, because I have a really funny dad joke for you that my daughter rolled her eyes at. So it's got to be really funny if she rolled her eyes at it, right? First, pro number one, cash sales are really fast. So depending on who you sell it to, it'll close in as little as 7 days, but as long as 30 to 60 days. So the cash investors that I work with, they typically close in between 7 and 15 days. They just want title work to clear. They'll just walk through your house themselves. They'll take a look around. They'll give you an offer. And they'll say, I'll just close in 8, 10, 15 days as soon as title work is done. With some iBuyers, some of the bigger companies like We Buy Your Ugly Houses, they want to do an actual home inspection. So they may take a little bit longer. They may take 20, 30, 35 days to close. It just depends on who you sell it to. Pro number two, convenience. So say goodbye to showings. Say goodbye to open houses. Say goodbye to keeping your house clean and having to leave the house at the drop of a hat when you get a showing request in 10 minutes. You don't have to do any of that stuff because your house is already sold to a cash buyer or an iBuyer. It's already done. You don't have to worry about any more showings. Anybody else coming to walk through your house, touch your stuff, go through your cabinets, go through your drawers, open up your closets. You don't have to worry about getting all your kids into the minivan, driving away for an hour, then coming back or anything like that. It's already all done. Pro number three, certainty. So did you know that around 30% of traditional sales fall through due to financing issues? Well, guess what? With cash buyers, that worry disappears. You don't have to worry if that new buyer is going to go buy furniture for the house and totally blow up the deal. You don't have to worry if that buyer is going to lose their job. You don't have to worry if that buyer is going to go buy a brand new car and totally ruin their credit, and then the finances are going to totally fall through. None of that stuff is a worry to you, because a cash buyer already has the cash in their bank account, just waiting to be wired to your bank account. It's already there. It's good to go. It's as good as done. You're just waiting for a closing day to come. Whether that's in 7 days, whether it's in 10 days, whether it's in 40 days. You're just waiting for closing day to come, and you're as good as done. Pro number four of selling to a cash buyer or iBuyer, there are no repairs needed. So a cash buyer or iBuyer, they're not going to require any repairs be made to your house. So the cash buyers that I work with, they won't ask for any repairs. Very few of them will even do an inspection. They'll usually just walk through the house themselves. They'll take a look around. They already know what they're looking for. They already know what the house needs because they do so many flips and remodels themselves already. They can just kind of walk through the house, take a quick look around in like 5 or 10 minutes. They already know what's going to cost them to do these repairs. They already know what the repairs are going to cost them and that kind of stuff. So they don't need to do an inspection. They already pretty much know what's going to cost them and that kind of stuff. So they'll just base their offer based on what they visually see. Now, some of the bigger guys like We Buy Ugly Houses, OfferPad, they may do an inspection. So they may close a little bit longer. And after the inspection, they may reduce their offer by a little bit based on the inspection. But we'll get more into that in a little bit. Pro number five, there's lower fees when you sell to a cash buyer. So what do I mean by lower fees? Well, when you're selling to a cash buyer, title work has to do less work. So when title is doing title for a traditional buyer with a loan, they have to do a little bit more work with a lending institution because they have to dig a little bit deeper and just do more work for the lender. With a cash buyer, there's a lot less work. There's just you and the cash buyer, and really all they're doing is just balancing the numbers and settling the numbers, and then just doing the wire transfers between the bank accounts. So it's a lot less work for the title company. And then they're just doing the title search to make sure there's no liens against the property or anything like that. Flexible closing dates. So iBuyers and cash buyers are very flexible. So if you need a little extra time, let's say the buyer is closing in 8 days or 17 days, and you need more time than that to move out of the house. You can't get everything packed up, or you need a little extra time to find a new place to live. Most iBuyers, most cash buyers, they'll give you a little extra time. They'll give you 35 days. They'll give you 2 weeks. They'll give you a little extra time to move out of the house. Maybe you say, you know what? I don't want to close on the 17th. I want to close on the 21st because that's a lucky number for me. Whatever it may be. Most cash buyers, they don't really care about the closing date. They don't care about anything like that. They just want the house. They will be very flexible with you. They'll work with you. They'll be very accommodating. They'll do almost anything that you ask for. As long as they end up with the house at some point, they will be very accommodating. You just have to ask for it, and they'll almost always do it as long as they can see an end game at some point. Pro number 7, and probably one of the biggest pros, is that you're avoiding appraisals. So even though we're still in a really strong seller's market right now, we are starting to see this creep in every now and then. We're starting to see appraisals come in low here and there every now and then on some deals. So when buyers are making offers that are 10, 15, 20,000 over asking, or even at asking price sometimes, we're starting to see some appraisals come in a little bit lower or a lot bit lower than asking price or contract price. For whatever reason, maybe the appraiser's having a bad day. Maybe the appraiser really doesn't see comps that support that asking price. I don't know what it is. Now you can fight the appraisal. You can try to get the contract price back up. But a lot of times the appraiser's word is just gold. There's no fighting it. And what ends up happening is that the seller either has to lower the price, the buyer has to come up with more money and bring it to the closing table, or the seller lowers the price a little bit and the buyer comes up with a little more money and brings it to the closing with them. But when you're selling to iBuyer or cash buyer, there is no appraisal. You totally skip that part altogether. You don't have to worry about appraisals because you're selling to a cash buyer. There's no bank involved. There's no third party. Appraisals will totally cut out of the deal. You don't have to worry about appraisals at all. So that's huge. No appraisal at all. Finally, pro number 8 is that it helps in difficult situations. So whether you're going through a foreclosure or a pre-foreclosure, a divorce, or it's an urgent relocation for whatever reason, a job relocation, maybe something that's going on with your family, something in life, whatever the reason may be, a cash buyer can come in and save the day, buy your house really quick, close in 7 to 14, 15, maybe 30 days, and help you out. You know, get you out of your situation, get that money into your bank, and just get you onto the next chapter of your life. Cash buyers, iBuyers, they can be a lifesaver to some people. Some people, it's not the best option for, but some people, depending on their situation, it is a lifesaver and it is the best option for them. Sounds pretty great, right? Why wouldn't every seller pick a cash offer or an iBuyer? What is wrong with that? You get the money you want, you get the timeline you want, you move on to the next chapter, you sell your house, and you move on. But wait, there are definitely some cons to selling to a cash buyer or an iBuyer. Let's get into those cons right now. So here are the drawbacks to selling to a cash buyer or an iBuyer. The first drawback, and probably the biggest drawback that stops a lot of people from selling to a cash buyer or an iBuyer, is that you get a lower offer price. So typically most cash buyers and iBuyers, they will offer you 20 to 30 to maybe even 40% under market value of what your house is worth. So they do that because they're looking to turn a profit. They are running a business and they want to make money. So what they usually do is they buy your house, they'll fix it up, they'll put granite countertops in, they'll redo the floors, they'll repaint, they'll fix anything that's wrong with the house, maybe they'll redo the roof, redo the plumbing, put a new furnace in. Whatever the house needs, they'll redo it, make it look all nice and pretty. They'll turn around and resell it. Maybe they'll hold on to it and they'll rent it out, but that's pretty rare. Usually they turn around and sell it. So they're running a business and they turn around and sell it. So what they do is they offer you 20 to 40% under market value. So let's say your house is worth $100,000 for easy math purposes. They'll offer you between $60,000 and $70,000 for your house. Maybe $80,000 on the high end. Now, is it worth it to you to sell for convenience, but you're losing that much money over the open market? It might be, depending on your situation. If you need to sell really quickly, and maybe that money will cover everything that you need to pay off. You know, for some of the people that I've sold to investors, it worked for their situation. The money covered what they need to pay off, plus a little bit of extra, and it totally worked for them. Other people, they said, you know what? That won't work for me. It doesn't give me enough money to buy another house. It doesn't work for my situation. I'm going to go to the open market. That's perfectly fine. I'll help you either way. Let's go on to con number 2. Con number 2 is hidden fees. So be very careful. Some instant offer companies, usually the bigger ones, like We Buy Ugly Houses or OfferPad, they have some hidden fees in there. So they use the state contracts when they're buying your house, but they also often have their own individual company contracts and papers that you sign. Make sure you read everything very carefully. So they'll put in there things like, when we do the inspection, we'll lower your offer price by $1,000 per repair or more. So every single repair they find during the inspection, they'll lower your offer price. So let's say they're going through your inspection and they find, let's say you have a leaky faucet, a running toilet, a hole in the wall. Let's say, you know what, we're going to deduct $1,000, $1,000, $1,000. So let's say you have 10 things wrong with your house. All of a sudden your offer is reduced by another $10,000. So let's go back to our $100,000 house. If they were only offering you, let's say $60,000 to begin with, now all of a sudden they're only going to offer you $50,000 for your house. Will that still cover your expenses? Will that still cover everything that you had to pay off to begin with? It might not. I don't know. Can you get out of the contract still? Possibly. I don't know. Depends on how the contract is worded. Con number 3 that's selling to a cash buyer or an iBuyer is there's a limited buyer pool. So typically when you're selling to an iBuyer or a cash offer, you're only looking at 1, maybe 2 or 3 cash offers or iBuyers. So when I tell you that there's a cash buyer that's maybe interested in your property, there's usually 1 or 2, maybe 3 people that I have in mind that may be interested. That's local people that may be interested. Now, if I open it up to the bigger national companies, there may be an additional 1 or 2 people that may be interested. But that's not a very big pool. That's maybe a 5 total people. Now, those people aren't going to fight with each other over your house. They're just going to make you an offer. Here's our offer. Here you go. Take it or leave it. But we'll get more into that in a little bit. Con number 4, there's less marketing exposure. So your home won't be marketed to the masses, which means fewer people will see it and compete for it. So like I just said in the last tip, there will be a lot less people seeing your house like there is on the open market if you sell in the open market. So you'll get fewer offers. You'll only have those 1 or 2, maybe 5 offers at the most. You won't have 5, 10, maybe 15 offers like we're seeing in today's market to choose from. You'll only have that 1 or 2 offers to choose from. Maybe 2 offers. You might only get 1 offer from a cash offer or iBuyer. So you have a lot less to choose from, a lot fewer people to walk through your house and possibly even that may want to buy it. So a lot less market exposure when you're selling it cash buyer or iBuyer. Con number 5. So if you've lived in your house for the past 20, 30, or 50 years and you've loved your house and you've taken care of it, and you want somebody else to live in your house for the next 20 or 30 years and take care of it just the way that you have, then an iBuyer or cash buyer is not the person you want to sell it to. Because a cash buyer and iBuyer, they are buying it as an investment property. They're going to buy it, they're going to fix it up, they're going to turn around, they're going to sell it. They have no emotional attachment to it. They don't care. This is a business for them. This is an investment property for them. They're going to buy it, they're going to fix it up, they're going to turn around, they're going to sell it in the next 6 months. You're going to want to sell this on the open market. You're going to want to try and find somebody that's going to love the house just as much as you have for the last 20, 30, or 50 years. An investor is not going to love your house the way that you have for the last 20, 30, or 50 years. Con number 6, limited negotiations. So like I briefly touched on a couple of points ago, offers that come from iBuyers or cash offers are take it or leave it. Let's say, here's our offer. Please respond to us by the end of the day or by the end of the day tomorrow. It's take it or leave it. There is no negotiations. There may be very limited negotiations. You can ask them to come up by maybe 1,000 or 2, but it's typically a take it or leave it kind of offer. The investors that I work with, they may negotiate with you a little bit, like a very tiny bit, maybe $1,000, $2,000, maybe $5,000. But the bigger companies, the iBuyers, they won't negotiate at all. Their offer is ironclad. Their offer is take it or leave it. Their offer is a very set amount. Here's our offer. This is our offer. It's take it or leave it. They don't care if you take it or not. Con number 7 of selling to a cash buyer and iBuyer are scams and untrustworthy buyers. So believe it or not, there are scams everywhere in this world. And there are even scammers out there pretending to be cash buyers and iBuyers. So be careful. So I know almost all of the investors in the Kenosha racing area. And if I don't know them, then I know a realtor that does, or I know an investor that does. So if you're looking to sell your house, maybe you're doing it without me. Maybe you're trying to find an investor and you're trying to sell it off market or by yourself. Give me a call and say, hey, Chad, I have this guy, his name, or this person. And this person's name is whatever, insert name here. Is this person a legitimate investor? Do they actually have the funds to buy my house? If I don't know the name, I will find out for you and I will let you know if that's a legitimate investor or not. But be very careful because there are scammers out there who will say, you know what? I want to buy your house. I have all this money. They'll even send you a fake proof of funds to show you that they have all this money. And these proof of funds, they look really real. But if you look really close at them, there are little telltale signs that they're not real. Like they have a fake address, they have fake phone numbers. So be very careful out there when you're trying to sell to iBuyers or cash investors. Finally, con number 8 of selling to a cash investor is the missed upside potential. So in a strong seller's market like we're in right now, you're missing all that money that you're potentially leaving on the table right now. So let's go back to that $100,000 house that we have in our scenario. So that $100,000 house that they're only offering you, let's say $60,000 to $80,000, on the open market, they may offer you, a buyer may offer you $100,000 asking price, or a buyer may even offer you $110,000 or $120,000. Who knows? The open market is crazy. They may offer you a lot more than the asking price or at asking price. The open market is the open market, you know. They may offer you asking price. They may offer you more than asking price, but you won't know until you try the open market. All I can tell you is for sure is that if you go the cash buyer route or an iBuyer route, they will offer you under asking price, under fair market value. So there you have it. Selling your house for an instant offer or cash has lots of perks, but it also has a few drawbacks. So is it right for you? It very well could be. For a lot of my clients, it has been very right for them. It got them what they needed, got them out of the house, got them out of the next chapter of their life. But for a lot of my clients, it's also not the right route for them because they wanted the full potential of their house sale. So they went on to the open market. So what's the best route for you? Well, give me a call or shoot me a text. Let's have that initial consultation and let's see what's the best route for you. I won't know until I know the full story behind why you're selling your house. Now let's hear that dad joke. So what do you call a bee that lives in America? Does anybody know? A USB. Ha 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 ha. I love it. Like I said, Abby totally rolled her eyes and just walked away from me. Even Aalia rolled her eyes and walked away from me. I thought it was hilarious. I love dad jokes. I think they're great. They're super funny. Puns are fantastic. You're gonna start hearing these at the end of every video. I hope that you love them too. If you want more of them, or if you have any dad jokes of your own, let me know down here in the comments. I love dad jokes. Like I said, let me hear your dad jokes. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know down here in the comments. If you have any questions at all about buying or selling here in the Kenosha racing area, give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email. I'm happy to help any way that I possibly can. I'm here to help you every single day. I hope they have a fantastic rest of the day, and I can't wait to see you on the next video.